I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Robinson.
Present.
Commissioner Riles.
Present.
Commissioner LaGrasse.
Present.
Commissioner Jansen.
Present.
Commissioner Thompson has an excused absence. Commissioner Holt.
Yep.
And Commissioner Smith.
Cool. So everybody read the minutes?
Yeah, I'm going to approve them.
Second.
Okay. Call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Approved. Business from the public,
Where you want me?
wherever.
Right. Sounds good. I'm Kim Jackson with the Albany Visitors Association, and I just wanted to throw in since it's Albany Women's History Month, I want to throw in a plug for our app that we have and for your phone, and on it currently features Albany Pioneering Women in History. We have 5 biographies on there right now. And I just wanted to go quickly through those to give them some recognition. A little bit of bio. Mei Yi, the first Chinese American in U.S. history to serve as a state legislator. Bessie Wyatt Hale, the first Black woman to own a business in Albany. Esther Ferguson, the first woman president of the Albany Chamber of Commerce. Captain Minnie Mae Hill, a steamboat pilot on the Willamette and Columbia Rivers, one of only 3 licensed female river pilots in America at that time. Evelyn Waldron, a noted pilot, co-manager of the Albany Municipal Airport, and one of only 2 female Air Patrol pilots in Oregon in 1939. And Aura Buell, a noted Chautauqua performer. Right now, you can access those with a lot more information about all of those women on our app, and we're currently putting together 3 more biographies for women, notable women who will be on the app, and hopefully by the end of May. So it's kind of fun for us, and it's exciting. We like doing this, and we think it's groundbreaking. I don't know of anyone else who's doing this in any towns in Oregon, as far as I know. So, but that's kind of what we're doing right now, and hope to have that done soon.
You don't know anybody who's doing the app or doing the.
We know who the app, yeah, it's, I can't think of the name of the company that's doing it for us right off the top of my head, and I apologize. Rebecca would know if she wants to chime in, if she's listening. Because I don't have the name at the top of my head, but it's local, and they do a great job. And the app includes a whole lot more stuff about Albany, and you should all have it on your phones.
Definitely.
All right, you got it? All right. Yeah.
That's great.
So anyway, I appreciate the time. If you have more questions,
Rebecca there.
yeah, Rebecca, what's the name of the company?
It's Hospitality Vision.
That's it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I knew you'd be there. That's it.
Very good.
Hospitality Vision.
Vision.
Yeah. The app is the Albany Explorer. Yeah, you can get it for either iPhone or for your regular Android.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Are you gonna talk about the airport?
They're here for a different.
They're different?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they were here last time for the airport.
Right, but they're here for a different
Oh, okay.
spot on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
Preservation Month activities discussion.
Oh, okay. Any more? From the public? Nobody signed up?
Nope.
A business from the staff.
All right, so on the last page of your agenda packet, I have something that I've drafted up. So I know that there's been kind of an ongoing issue of how do we make sure that people that are buying homes know that they're in a historic district. And so what this draft is we call it a declaratory statement. It's a declaration of, say, restrictions. We used it a lot when I was working in the county. So what this is a legal document that gets filed with the chain of title on a property and then comes up in a title report. So it's just an option that we could use to let people know that they're buying historic properties. Once you file it, it stays with the property unless we do a release. So it's a one-time thing and then they don't have to come back and do it again.
And then it
So,
comes up in the preliminary title report.
yes. Yep.
So then they would have to know that they are in a historic home
Yes,
in
they
the
would be
district.
provided that information as part of the packet of information you get when you buy a home. It comes up in the preliminary title report.
The stack of papers that you get.
I think this is amazing. We tried to do this, I don't know, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. And the filing fees were something that we couldn't swing at that.
So that's one idea that we currently have. So until we update Article 7, doing this would be voluntary, but one of the things we would offer to do is that with our CLG grant money is to set aside a pot of money. And so if people voluntarily record these, we would pay the filing fee with Lynn County.
Isn't it just a small amount per page when it's already going through with a sale?
Yeah, well, so this would be separate from a sale.
But if it happened at the same time as a sale,
I don't know too much about that because I always was doing it as part of a land use. In my experience, it ballparks around $100 and then there's usually a smaller fee per page. This would be one page, so.
right, I think it'd be great to get on board with realtors and have them be doing it right along with the sale, and then it's a $5 page fee
Yes.
instead of a whole separate thing.
And this is also, of course, something that we could just voluntarily do for people that want to come in and have it as part of chain of title. It would be free. Moving forward, one of the things that we would do typically at the county is to make it a condition of land use approval. So say anybody that comes into the historic application with us, a site plan review, you know, anything land use, one of the conditions of approval would be having to file this. But that would be after we do our Article 7 updates. And then at that point, we may or may not have the money set aside for the filing fee, but it would be like a condition of approval. So eventually we could get everybody under the umbrella, but we're not going to do a blanket statement that you're in a district and just auto apply it to people.
Right.
So we wanted to come to you guys and see if this is something that you'd like to see us move forward with.
Absolutely. It sounds like there's a economic impact that we may need to look at stronger later, but this absolutely seems like a great idea. A couple of years ago, we floated the idea of this, not knowing that the commission had earlier touched on it. And I think at that time, we were told like, there's no mechanism that exists to do it. So outstanding to see this.
And we have the right combination of people in our office that support the idea. So we've edited this already with our director, Matthew Ruckers, and also Peter, our city manager.
Wonderful.
So the next step would be to vet it with council.
So it'd be just people who come for some other purpose on their property. It won't be something, it won't be applied to all of the deeds out there.
Correct. So by not applying it to everybody just right off the bat, there's more freedom in getting people to come in. And also this wouldn't apply to everybody out there. So the way this is trying to look. So located in the National Register, Historic Places District, listed on the National Register separately or listed on the local inventory. There are different rules for different people. And so we would be able to just kind of make sure that the people that are coming in, it really does apply to them.
I guess a few at a time is better than none.
So like your old house would be one. Cause this is where you used to live on Fifth. That was a historic home as well, so.
Right, but what I'm saying is the people who. And for one thing, that realtors are not gonna wanna do this.
No.
They don't want to tell people that they're in. a
Yeah,
historic
they
district.
do.
No, they don't.
Well.
They
and
don't
that-
want to because then people get afraid that there's too many restrictions.
But they
think that
also
there's
don't, they
paint
want
colors.
CYA, they want to cover their butts because they don't want to be caught not telling. that this isn't a historic district and you have these responsibilities. If you want to do anything to the exterior, that's really, it's important to most realtors.
And I think it will be better received during a sale. Or
Yes.
transaction than just, I think we'll have some reactionary pushback. Just, inevitably, there's people like, what's going on here? If we just bring it up on properties that aren't being sold. Although I think it's a necessary education step.
Exactly. I would love
And
to,
I wonder if there's a time when we could get together with the local Realtors Association, or I don't know what those
Good.
organizations or group of organizations look like. And just say, hey, this is something we see all the time, where people come and say, well, I had no idea.
right.
So we just let them know, like, we're not trying.
Required. We have paperwork already that's required to be signed if you're in a historic district. So
There is.
this is just another piece of paper.
So would this be available soon for other people that want to get it into their
Yes.
records?
So provided city council signs off on it, we could have it available basically after that meeting. So as
So
long as,
about 6 months out.
hope a little bit sooner. But they are relatively easy for us to do. I would basically just go through and make sure that down here in the language that we're describing it correctly. So the parts that are in the parentheses get crossed out until you're left with the one that applies to your situation.
Sure.
We have to add in just the legal description, which isn't usually too hard, but does require a deed. And then you'd be able to file.
So it's not something you have to have an attorney look over necessarily.
No, we had the city attorney look over our language just to make sure that it was fine for their purposes, and they said it was good.
Good.
But yeah, all you really need at this point is a notary, and I happen to be one, so people could basically just come in and I could do the document for them.
How much are you charging for that?
I do it for free.
Attorneys do.
So,
But the filing fee is
the filing fee,
with the county, right?
yes, correct. With what we're currently thinking of doing, we would set aside a pot of money to pay for that for free while people are doing it voluntarily. The pot would run out at the end of July, because that's when our.
This July.
Correct.
So this needs to be available to people before July hits and you're out of money.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's unfortunately a short window, but it's better than nothing, right? Like if we never offer to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
so.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to protect their
Mhm.
house.
And perhaps it's something that could be funded again when the 2024 grant cycle comes back around.
Yeah, like we'd be open to funding it more. We just have to cut off payment on July 31st because that's the end of our grant funding.
Excellent.
Cool. Yes. I would say go
I
forward.
like it.
And thank you for the effort.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Mhm.
we had some resistance before. That's wonderful.
No problem.
Is that it from the staff?
That's it from staff.
Wow. Preservation Month, award decision discussion. So what do we have still?
Are we,
We're on ours. Business from the commission.
we close nominations. So are we comfortable voting?
I have a little slideshow so we can all look at them before voting.
Wonderful.
I didn't see any of that.
Okay. There we go. So I will show you, most of them are gonna be in groups of 3, so I'll show you all 3, and then I figure we vote because they're in categories. Does that sound good? All right, so this is our first one. Maureen, I think you nominated this one.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a quick overview of the work and why it was nominated?
Well, when my client purchased this property, the windows were boarded up with plexiglass and homeless people were sleeping on the porches, and he went through and brought everything back to the original style. He tried very, very hard to keep it exactly the way it was, went through the inside and redid everything. It's a nice home now.
Wasn't that the one with the garage that was broken into and messy and?
Yep, little side garage
Yeah,
on Maple, I think it is.
Yeah. used to look like a crack house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Really.
All right. Here is the next one. I forget who nominated this one. Ryan and Dave.
Yeah.
I believe this one was nominated because they've done a lot of work on the exterior, had a lot of peeling paint before it was purchased, and they've done a lot of work restoring it, getting the shingles back up and painting it over. That's why this one was nominated. And then we've got this one right here, 432 California Street. Does anybody remember who nominated this one? It is on a corner, it's.
Oh, Jim,
Hallelujah
it's
and
Jim.
Benjamin.
Yeah, it's Jim, whatever, I forgot his name, the one that's doing the winery, the wine tasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
yeah. And that's because the amount of work that he put into it and rebuilt all the ornate stuff on top and actually had it painted. It looked horrible when he bought it. And this is just such an improvement to what he had.
Guy that lived there before, I think he was like 80 when he bought the house and decided he was gonna totally remodel it. It had been 5 apartments, I think,
Yeah,
and he tore into it and unfortunately, he didn't survive long enough to get it done.
yeah, the inside is pretty amazing because it had the stairway, they took the stairway out and all this other
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
and.
they took the stairway out by trying to move the cast iron bathtub down it,
Oh.
took out the staircase.
Oh, my goodness.
Great, so that's the 3 nominations we have for the residential award. Okay, I'll go to the next one. So the next one is gonna be our commercial / non-residential. First one's you, Oscar. So
Hey,
for-
that picture was taken yesterday.
It was, yes. I kept waiting for the weather to get better and it never did, so I had to go out yesterday. So, was nominated because of the work he put into restoring the building and bringing it back to, its more historic past. And then we have the Cumberland Church, this photo's from this morning.
Sunshine, yeah.
Yeah.
No
So.
steeple yet.
Yep, steeples on the backside. They're doing some good work on it. They have new shingles on it. So they're making progress. And it looks like they're about 75% of their funding goal for getting the steeple back up.
Cool.
So then the next category we have is preservation advocate.
We only had 2.
We ended with 3, and some of them are a bit of a mix.
No, I mean the other, commercial.
I ended up putting them in the preservation advocates, but we could re-put them into the commercial,
The buildings.
the building. It made more sense to me to put people into the preservation advocates.
Yeah.
It seemed like we were going for actual properties that were being worked on under the first 2 categories.
Sure.
So all the people are in the preservation advocate one.
So there were no more commercial buildings.
No, we only had 2 for this
Okay.
one, but then we have regroupings for the preservation advocate.
Oh.
Yep. So first one is former city councilor Dick Olson, who is the reason that we have our historic districts here in Albany. So he was nominated for his longtime service and interest in the historic area. Next, we've got Baritone and Pyburn and Sons. So they were recommended under the commercial. I put them under preservation advocate. I put them together because they work closely together and it's hard for me to figure out a project where say Pyburn and Sons worked, but Baritone didn't, and Baritone worked and Pyburn and Sons didn't. But if you guys prefer to vote on them separately, that's fine.
Sure.
And then the other one was Scott Letman and Candace Rivera, basically the same deal. It's hard to have one without the other. So those are all the nominations we had.
Great.
All right,
Was that it?
that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I didn't get any more, so those are the ones that we've got.
Since the last meeting, that was.
Yep, since the last meeting.
Yeah, I went over it. I couldn't think of any others.
So do you guys,
Do we need to vote on who we
Yes, isn't that what we're here for?
I think that was the intent. If you guys don't feel like you have what you need to vote, you guys could push it off, but seeing if I can get any more recommendations.
I'm comfortable voting.
Yeah. How about you? Bill?
I'm going to abstain.
Well, on one
Not
of them.
all of them. Not all of them. You can vote on the ones that you're not in, right?
Sure. I'll
You
abstain
can
on
fully
the
abstain,
commercial.
whatever.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
So residential, I would lean towards the third myself.
The
But well,
third, the
no,
last one?
I'll cast my vote for the third.
Oh, I can bring it.
you
back
want to
up.
bring it back up,
Yeah.
please? The third one is the one,
California Street
the
one.
California. Yeah. Jim. I forgot his last name.
We better work that out before May. We can do,
I can remember it, but I just can't remember.
that's the kind of blind voting that assures the community that there's no.
Yeah.
So this one.
That one. That's one you're thinking?
There
Okay,
was a lot of effort there.
and I agree with that one,
I'm voting for fourth.
for the one on fourth.
The first.
Yeah,
This one
Greg
here.
Schneider,
All right.
7:34.
Well, not having seen the interior of either of them, I'm gonna vote for the California one, because there's just so much more work. But this one certainly deserves it. I would.
Weren't we talking about doing, we
I
had
just
3
don't see why we
years
can't
worth?
give all three of these.
Right,
Well,
because
if
there
you
was
can.
3 years worth of,
So recognizing these individuals would. Does it have a financial impact if we do 3 instead of?
My understanding is we don't give out money. We
Right.
basically just print a word,
Print it back.
plaques basically. And then I believe the mayor hands them out at the May, commission.
didn't we talk about going back and retroactively giving a couple of, or during COVID, we did not give awards, I think.
Well,
I think
this one
this
was
is our
done
effort to try and
last
catch up
year.
here. But
Well,
if
And
it's.
so it's Jim, and
I will say that in the past, we just said, here are the places that deserve an award, and
Oh,
figure out a way to give it to them.
I mean,
The last time we did it, there was a plaque and I'm sure it cost some money, but I would rather print a certificate and recognize more
mhm.
people. I think, the plaque's gonna gather dust, but bringing them up at a council meeting and having the mayor present them with, recognize them and say thank you is more important to me than the plaque, so.
can we
I
do
would-
2 of these?
We used to do,
Yeah.
just do a printed certificate like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and put it in a little
Yeah.
frame and.
I think I have found the printed certificate, so we have that.
Well, to that end, I would say that.
This
Can
one
we
and the third one.
recognize, well, can we?
All three?
We
recognize all
did
three?
recognize all 3.
If you choose to.
I think that'd be great.
Bill?
Yeah, I think the only limitation we've ever had in the past is how many we really thought were deserving of it. There have been times when we've given 3 and times when we've given 6 and multiple residential and multiple, it just depends. When Sharon retired from being mayor, there were 2 different people at that time that got awards under the advocate and a couple of commercial buildings. So I think really everything, it's really hard for me to choose because I look at every one of these and think, especially since we didn't give out during the COVID break, I think it's, heck, we give them all awards. I think they're all deserving of recognition, and it takes Alex a couple seconds to shake their hand, and they're brought in and they get recognized. And I think I'd vote for all of them.
My only caveat is, and this is just my take on it, could we do something maybe just a touch more for Dick Olson?
Maybe a lifetime.
Yeah,
She-
we could do his separately as like a
service.
lifetime advocate award or something.
Yeah, and maybe if we, having just said plaques don't matter, if we could do something a little bit more than a printed certificate, because so much of this really is owed to Dick.
Mhm.
And whether it's the districts or central school or so many of these things, I don't know if everyone here is aware of that story of Dick finding the Burgraff blueprints for Central School in the 11th hour, that sort of thing.
He's got them in his house.
Yeah. He deserves a little bit more, in my opinion, if we could do that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for Dick and the people, other people from the town at that time who really worked hard to set up this thing and have advocated all these years. And I love Candace and Scott and Veritone and Pyburn. Hopefully they're going to be around for a long time and up for a lot more rewards, awards, not rewards. But Dick is pushing 90, so I think maybe it's prudent to give him a good send off.
Yeah.
Any ideas on what the extra little touch would be?
Maybe a plaque. I mean, can we do a plaque for him? I think that's a great idea. He would hang it in his home and be very proud of it.
Yeah, we can look into it.
That sounds like a great idea.
And we'll maybe come up with I've been working with another person to come up with some of the history of the things he's done over the years, and maybe write a little thing for Alex to read so that we cover. I mean, some of the things are self-explanatory. The work on this building that we're looking right now, and you do a before and after picture, and it's pretty self-explanatory. But 40 or 50 years of service is kind of hard to encapsulate, and so we'll work on coming up with a little narrative that Alex can read when he gives him the award.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that sounds good.
Love it.
So did we decide to do all the residentials, all three of them?
And both
With-
commercials.
I would
Can
vote.
we do a one time, a one first place or whatever, and then whatever you want to do? I don't know, because
I think,
we're just recognize them all.
I would
I
just
think-
recognize them
yeah.
all.
I think we recognize them all.
And, it'll be in the paper probably, and
It's encouraged.
it's encouraging
Presented.
people.
Do you want to do all, or just all for residential?
All.
All right, sounds good.
There's not that many.
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
We kind of already decided who we were gonna do anyway.
And I think we missed 2 years of giving these out, so we're kind of catching up a little.
All right, sounds good. We will work on that.
What about the narrative though for Dick Olson? Is there any-
I'll be in charge of that. If anyone wants to drop me an email, I already have someone looking into it and I'll go ahead and write that up and send it out to or bring it to one of our meetings and get approval.
excellent.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't forget he put the stuff on the side of the canal on 8th.
Yeah, if anyone remembers anything, text it to me or email it to me, or we can talk about it at the meeting. I'll go ahead and get an outline for him set up. And yeah, it's hard to actually count all the different things he was part of making happen.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so preservation month activities.
So shall
You want to talk?
we could scoot back, or you guys could come to the table, or whatever works.
That way you can set your stuff down.
And we also have Cameron Settlemyer on the call if we want to talk about doing something.
Oh, thanks.
Excellent.
You want to state your name and all that fun stuff?
I'm Debbie Orger and I'm working on the 1929 hangar project.
I'm Mark Baxter. I'm working on the project with Debbie.
Cool. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, we were envisioning an open house. How does that sound to you?
I think it sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like and I think I mentioned this in the email, our only real qualifier from the city is that we make sure that the runway is cordoned off and people are separated from that. Is is there anything about the hangar we need, is there anything dangerous, or is there anything we need to worry about, or is it ready to go for an open house as far as liability and safety?
Those are questions that I need to ask Rob Romeo, which we have a meeting Monday the 6th.
Okay,
So I can ask him those questions. I would say that it wouldn't be important for them to go upstairs.
I was just,
Yeah, so you will, the most important parts are gonna be downstairs. And so the question I have is it open for just one day, or do we have it open for more? Or how is it?
Well, that would be up to you to decide how much you wanna give, and do you have like, boards that you can put out that shows the history of it and what it looked like in the beginning and moving forward and all that stuff? You had to submit that to SHPO, did you? Or did they have?
well,
it?
we haven't yet.
No, we
Okay.
haven't, no, so we're open. We have all those things to do, we need to, we need to clean it up, clean it out. And still to come up with those things, but I don't think it's gonna be difficult.
No, we just needed a little bit of, a guideline in terms of some, a framework for what you were thinking you'd like
Want
to
us
see.
do.
I was just thinking of a day, but I don't know, how do we?
Could be a day or a weekend.
Yeah, for a weekend, or you want.
I don't
to
know
in the
how,
morning.
how big your volunteer pool is.
The two of us.
I think you're looking at us.
So you have
We're just
nobody
getting
else?
started. No, we're
Okay.
just getting started.
But something like this is 100% in our wheelhouse,
Yes.
because the more we can share with people about the hangar and about the history, the more our volunteer pool will grow.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, and I won't speak for anyone else, but depending on what day or days we set, I would be happy to volunteer to assist. But I think that this would be, well, I'm excited about it. You certainly told us more than I knew about the history of the hangar. So I think there's probably a lot of people in the community that need to know.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So is there a weekend? Well, let's see, Memorial Weekend would be the 28th, 29th, 30th, I believe. Is that
Mhm.
correct? Yeah. So we wouldn't do it Memorial Weekend, correct?
I would think there'd be too many people with
Government.
prior.
Yeah,
plans.
yeah.
So what do we have on the schedule currently that might conflict with them, do you know?
Let me take a look at what I've got written down.
Mother's Day.
So the people over in Benton County, Corvallis are doing a big, to do out at the Willamette Grange Hall on the 20th or 21st. It's the Sunday.
21st.
21st. So they would really prefer we not schedule anything that day. They have a whole route picked out. There's a lot of people that are in that area. It's Bell Fountain area. So that's kind of one of their big things. There is an OSU tour on the 14th, Mother's Day. Most Saturdays are open. So we could do, yeah, I mean, pretty much all of them are open. I'm separately setting up a window repair workshop that I was going to talk about. And so depending on how you guys are feeling, we would either do one full weekend, so a Saturday and Sunday, or 2 Saturdays. If a Saturday and Sunday, it would be the 6th and 7th. If 2 Saturdays, it could be the 6th and 13th, 13th and 20th, 6th and 20th. It'd just be a separate workshop.
Is your Tweed ride on the 6th?
It's on the 13th.
13th, so next Sunday,
Okay.
and then do you have something else on the 6th?
No, not,
You're just doing your tours?
yeah, those are midweek.
Okay. So Bill, are you doing the downtown tours again?
I hadn't thought about it this year. I know Oscar does some tours as well. I have been doing the kind of hidden Albany tours where I go inside old buildings that you can't get into. And right now I really don't have anything, and I'm sort of retiring. So I don't, we could, one of the buildings that would be nice to get into, and we could arrange that, is the Oregon Electric Railroad Station. Although a lot of people have been in that because it was open as a restaurant. And there's been a lot of cleanup and a lot of interesting things. I'll reach out and find out if Matt and Matt would be interested in having a little tour of that. And then, of course, there's the Cumberland, but I've been busy sort of trying to retire my company, so I haven't had a chance to really look into doing the Albany Underground tour this year.
So do we have anything have we ever been in the cheese grater upstairs?
And the cheese grater? Yeah,
Yeah.
we did that like 4 or 5 years ago. We got in there and took about 60 people through it and up the rickety ladder, and that was one of the more sketchy things we did, but that's really neat up there.
Yeah. You've been there, haven't you?
I think it might be really good just to kind of concentrate on the hangar this year, because there's going to be enough other things to do. And the Corvallis group is really interested in that too.
I think the Cumberland has at least 2 different events scheduled.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I was trying to look at my phone to see, but I know I'm not supposed to, but I was trying to figure out what the dates were. But the Cumberland has 2 different events going on during that month, and I've been helping them get some live music arranged. And so let me see if I can find the dates on that.
So is the building open? Can you get
Well,
in
they're
it?
gonna make it where you can go inside it. They have access to it. I wouldn't want to be in there in an earthquake, but I think you're probably okay to spend a couple of minutes. On May 13th and May 20th, they have ribbon, so they're doing a ribbon cutting and steeple raising day.
Wow.
And which day is that?
I think it's on the 20th. So when it's all tied down, I'll have them come in and tell us. So I think there's something going on May 13th, and I think May 20th, they're raising the steeple. So that'll be fun.
So does that steer us more towards the 6th and 7th?
Yes. I think so.
That
Yeah,
work?
that sounds good.
Mhm.
That's really
It
good.
works for us if it works for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate 2 days and 2 weekend days. It's, for a lot of us, that's the only way to do it, is have some weekend options.
That's
I
fine.
can help on that weekend.
So, do people sign up for special times, or do we just have it open from, say, 8 to 4 and people just come and tour? Is that
10?
10?
10 o'clock, I would do later.
10?
Yeah,
Okay,
I would say
10
10 to 4
10
would be enough.
Okay.
To anybody?
Sounds good.
I suppose my question is what's your parking situation?
I think I counted between Heath Casper's hangar and the historic hangar, I think easily park 12 cars. And then if they wanted to go on down towards the FBO, they could park there also.
We could also do the trolley
And the trolley, yeah.
from the Visitors Association.
Wherever you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of places you can stage that.
Yeah, that would be
So
awesome.
we could, would we run the trolley from somewhere down here all the way out to the airport? or-
My honest opinion would be try to find a place out closer to the airport, then you just have people park and shuttle.
Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds, yeah.
Coordinated fairgrounds.
I think there's something out there called the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
I got a couple of spots, but yeah, that would be the best place, yeah.
Okay, yeah, if we have the trolley, I don't have any concerns about just doing an open house. You'd want to do reservation if the parking situation is tight, but
I think we can work it out.
I think it'd be fine.
I think open house.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Do we have a pamphlet that we hand out, or do you want something for them to take with them, or?
I think that could be a good idea.
I think if you wanted to do some fundraising that way, or education would be good.
Or volunteer registration
Okay.
or,
Yeah, something that would make it easy for them to get a hold of you.
Okay.
Kim, I assume the Visitors Association is doing a event program like we've done in the past of all the things that are happening.
As soon as we have everything nailed down, we'll be able to put something out, yeah. We'll try to get paper to do some stuff, some pre-May things on that too, so it'll be on our website and do it well and try to get the paper involved. Do it all.
Do you want to talk?
I'll
about
try,
that?
yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
I could, I don't know if it would be appropriate, but I could bring my airplane over, which is, it's a 41 Taylorcraft and it's the same plane that Evelyn flew.
No, that sounds.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Not the exact plane,
Yeah.
but well, as a matter of fact, when Evelyn flew out here in 1941 in the summer, she and her husband Howard and 3 other people ferried 5 Taylorcrafts from the Alliance, Ohio factory to the Northwest. And she was on that trip, and I've been trying madly to figure out whether she flew my plane. I didn't find my N number in her logbook yet, but I could bring the T-Craft over and have it on display, and people would have a
Cool.
sense of, you know, what it would be like for her to have flown that basic of an airplane for 17 hours from Canada to Mexico.
And we can enlarge the picture that has the fuel tanks
Mm.
next to her. So,
Wow.
and behind her and in front of her.
My goodness.
It's really-
Sounds great.
So we have a date, right?
We have a date, so May 6th and 7th, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. We'll make sure, you know, there'll be other people we can enlist to help, but somebody who can kind of direct people with parking.
Sure.
And then maybe the trolley will come. I was trying to think that the Comfort Inn has put a fence up, so I don't know if the trolley can go in through that and around. I'm
I
not
think
sure.
they might do. Go out on
It was wild.
Oh, okay, so you've got that, okay, and then we'll come up with a pamphlet for fundraising. If in the future, because we don't have the legal documents yet. And then educational too, and I think it'd be fun for something for the kids.
Okay.
Too, that we can give them or hand out something.
Oh, I'll stand.
Like little.
Paper airplane making.
I was.
Also
Paper
with lighters.
Lighters, the only thing is
That would be wonderful.
we have to keep it under control, because if it gets out onto the tarmac, we'll be in trouble with
Well, you
Tony,
can keep
so.
it indoors.
But I'll talk to Tony too, so he'll know what we're doing, and he may want to add some things to it too. So we'll make it fun.
Who can drive the trolley?
It's through the city, Lynn, can't think of her last name, sorry. I can do it, or one of you can do it, just get a hold of her and, reserve it. And then they'll find a driver and, for whatever time frame you need, that kind of thing, so. Lynn Hughes, so.
So the next meeting would be April 1, is it? Or do you want us to report back for you?
Yeah,
With
let's
the
stay in
published?
contact.
You want me,
Yeah,
okay.
and,
we'll stay in-
you know, I will check the fairground schedule and just make sure they've got
Yeah.
nothing going on that weekend. And then
April
maybe,
5th is the
Fifth,
next
okay.
landmark.
Okay, but we'll keep in contact with you.
Yeah,
Jack, and-
absolutely.
okay.
Sorry, Lynn Smith.
Lynn Smith?
So is there any monies that are available to help with anything, or should we come up with it?
Yeah, we have money through our certified local government grant. It would depend on what you're looking to spend the money on. Not all things would qualify through our grant, but potentially,
if you have an idea,
yeah.
they say we're interested in doing this. Is it possible to fund that through the CLG grant? We could discuss that at the next meeting.
Okay,
And I can run it by my state contact, who's ultimately the person in charge of the grant money. So just kind of gotta run it by them just to make sure it's something.
sure,
fundable.
and it's just asking just to see.
Yeah.
Depends on what we might come up with.
Free airplane rides for commissioners.
Oh. I think that's
I'll
fair.
let you guys go.
You know.
I fly just fine, but that's kind of an old airplane.
A newer one.
Yeah, over 80 years old now.
Yeah.
Mine's a little younger, maybe 4 years. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
This
very
is gonna be
excited about this,
fun.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thrilled.
One point, if you don't mind, I don't know if the city's been charging food trial.
Okay,
So it's $60 an hour, 3-hour minimum.
Okay.
So I just throw that out there if you didn't know that.
But
And you might be able to talk them into it since you probably know somebody at the city.
Yeah.
Appreciate the information. That's very helpful.
thank you.
If I could, I hate to do this, but I'm going to duck out a little early because my daughter has a concert tonight. I have something to float out there. So I have a membership to the NAPC, the National Association of Preservation Commissions. I find it useful, and I'm more than happy to pay for my membership on my own, but I saw recently, when they sent me the note about it's time to renew, that there is an organizational membership that I think for a city of our size is $100, and it covers all of your commissioners.
Okay,
So I don't know if that's something anyone else is interested in. And like I said, I don't have my hand out, but you had mentioned there is some CLG money around and I find it useful. But I don't know if anyone else would.
Yeah.
There are webinars, there's a whole convention that you can attend, but there's plenty of resources there if you're so inclined.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you.
Sorry to leave early.
Enjoy the concert.
Yes.
yeah, good luck.
Well, I probably won't, but she needs to see me.
That was getting recorded.
It's. And it's beginning.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Find out.
I'm waving at the TV, Bill, that's meant for you.
Just got the camera down below it. So do we have any more from you two?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Cool,
Glad you came.
thank you. I think that'll be really cool,
Yeah.
Especially having the play in there and
Oh, yeah.
it'll give it a little bit of life.
One caveat, it's the most basic of airplanes. And so if the weather is not good, then I, won't be able to do it, but the weather cooperates, it would be great.
Yeah.
May is a crapshoot.
Well,
Yeah.
Spring is a
July
crapshoot.
4th. July 4th is the
Right.
cutoff.
That's right. You think we would bring the frame over from Miss Liberty?
Oh, we could,
So why don't you tell them about the frame then?
well, we have the project started to restore Taylorcraft to represent Evelyn's Miss Liberty that she flew on that historic flight. We already have the fuselage is sandblasted and primed, and we're already working on some of the components. We could have some of that stuff on display perhaps.
Yeah.
So they can,
That's in a different hangar, right?
Well, I'd have
We
to
have to
get
get
it,
it.
but that's not a problem.
but I have the wheel pants in my living room, so.
I'm not sure she's ready to let go of those wheel pants yet.
We talked about this last month as well. We have a display case here at City Hall. And I believe we can secure that for the month of May. So if there's pertinent materials like large blow up photos, maybe black and white photos of the plane,
We've got,
or some a uniform or an outfit, or just something that could fit within a display case, that could be another way to advertise this.
Flying helmet.
You know, the open house is really early in May, so it might be better to do like
I think we can get April, or at least the
end of
Is that
April.
still-
I think so.
Oh, that's great.
So we could try and get that earlier.
And then that would
Nice.
help.
Then put a little blurb saying open house on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could come up with stuff. for
oh
the
yeah, we
case.
can
Oh,
come
yeah.
up with
That'd be
it.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. But somebody's gonna have to know how to arrange it just right.
Because David doesn't want to do that.
Well, I could, but it might not be right. Yeah.
Yeah, that means you're up, Debbie.
Well, I just really appreciate you letting us do this and inviting us and guide us. You know, if you see something that we're not doing or you would like us to do, then let us know. Oh, I was going to add that I have a key. Rob has trusted me with a key to the hangar. And so if any of you want to come out at any time to look at it by yourselves or as a group, that would be great. And Mark can
Public
come
meeting
over.
law.
Yeah, we can't go as a group.
Oh, you can't go as a group.
No, but we could go individually.
Oh, sure.
Also, I would like to maybe invite you to the next meeting with the Preservation Society meeting or whatever it's
The
called.
Benton County one.
Yeah, the Benton County one.
I'll forward you an email.
Okay.
Benton County invited us to participate in their planning with the city of Corvallis as well. So we've been meeting with them to kind of talk about our shared calendar. So I'll send you the invite. I believe their next meeting is March 22nd.
Okay.
So if you're able to make it, they have a Zoom link, so you don't even have to go to Corvallis. Or just kind of talk about what we're doing. So you'd be able to give them a small talk. They're all very interested in the hangar.
Yes,
They're
they're
delighted.
very interested.
They have a beautiful hangar too.
Mhm.
But yours, Albany's is older, right?
Oh, by
It
much.
is.
Yeah, because the Corvallis hangar it was military built
Right.
for World War II.
Mhm.
Well, and they're redoing the building over in Adair, correct? And they don't have
Yes.
space for displaying their things, so they might love to display them for May while you guys are.
You need to talk
Open
to
house.
Keith about it. Keith at the museum
Oh, Keith.
about a lot
Wilson?
of stuff, yeah.
I don't think that they're gonna allow anything to
To
leave the
leave.
museum.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
It depends on how it's packaged,
Oh,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
Amy won't let you, but
Yeah, the Camp Adair people also have a bunch of memorabilia that they're not able to show off. The problem we're having right now is they didn't leave their contact information. So unless they come to the next meeting, we're just two ships passing in the night.
you can get that from Amy at the museum here,
Okay,
because she's got all that,
okay.
because they're gonna pass all their stuff off to them,
oh, yeah,
Good point.
right.
so.
That would be a great time to display some of that too. Have a little more things to look at it in the hangar and have people in there. That'd be a nice collaboration.
Be great. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks a lot.
May we go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or either way. Cameron, you have anything?
I don't really have any agenda to speak about. I know Friends of Historic Albany is going to do kind of we have a Tech Tuesday on Facebook, and we're going to do kind of a live Tech Tuesday walking tour. I don't know the date of that. I believe it's going to be in the later part of May. It's going to be on a weeknight, not the weekend. We're also discussing a couple of ideas, not set in stone yet. One of those is dealing with the presentation and maybe helping fund the storage of the original Young building drawings for the Albany Regional Museum. But that's still in the works. There's nothing set there yet. So as far as the hangar, I can spread the word to FOHA if they're looking for volunteers to help on the 6th and 7th. I can send an email out to the FOHA group and see if there's anybody that want to volunteer to help with that.
Cameron Settlemyer.
Friends of Historic- Oh, I see.
Yeah. Perfect.
And
So-
they're still here. Anything else, Cameron?
I don't have anything. I'm not really prepared to speak, but yeah, I don't really have anything else, so.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
I guess I have a couple things. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm coordinating a window workshop. That's where the majority of our certified local government grant is gonna be going. So currently I'm talking to Chris Gustafson with Vintage Window LLC about putting it on. He would have it at his workshop on Water Avenue. So we're thinking about doing 2 different workshops. They would be separate. They wouldn't be continuations. We want to, get as many people in the door as possible. And then, so it would be probably from like 10 to 4 or so. We were probably going to do it on 2 Saturdays. But if it works better to do a Saturday and a Sunday, depending, we could also do that. And then we're thinking about, he's done these little kits, like free kits that come with the workshop. They've got some tools, some glaze in them. And they're just kind of nice. He's done that with the city of the Dalles before. So potentially giving those out with participation in the workshop as well.
So does he charge for the workshop?
Yes, well, he's
So,
going to charge us for the
okay,
workshop.
so it's per person to be at the workshop.
We were thinking of implementing like a nominal $5 fee just to recoup some costs. But by and large, it wouldn't be actual cost for the workshop.
Okay.
Probably have to sign up, probably gonna have to cap participation. I'll need to talk to him about his occupancy and what that looks like. Figuring about
Do we
20.
get preferential treatment?
Maybe you don't count for the 20. And so, that was one of the things. So it's like the Saturdays are filling up pretty fast because that's what Saturdays do.
They could always be on the same Saturdays. as other things.
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
could, I'm kind of thinking maybe the 6th and maybe the 13th. That leaves it so people that go to the Windows workshop on the 6th can still make it to the hangar on the 7th. And the people that go on the 13th could still make the 20th or 21st for the Cumberland Church. So it will overlap, but with different events, with
That's
different
fine.
organizations.
well, and each event's not gonna take somebody 4 to 6 hours to do.
No.
So.
Yeah, the Windows workshop would be a pretty big commitment. It is about 6 or so hours with a lunch break. He says that's about the sweet spot. You get good training out of that, but you don't start to burn out like an 8-hour workshop.
Okay.
So gives you enough to work with, but it's not the most intensive it could be.
For $5.
Well, that's what we would charge.
Right.
But like I said, we're recouping most of the costs. We're paying it for it through our certified local government grant. So there wouldn't be a lot of cost passed on to people in the community. Yeah. I know it's been a while since we've done one, and I know that windows are a big thing for us. So I thought it would be important to bring windows as a workshop to the people in the community that deal with them.
In the past, they've always been pretty well attended.
Yeah. And there's some people in Corvallis gonna do some with him as well.
Are they
Yes.
working with Chris too?
Yeah.
They are, so on the 21st, he's, possibly out at the Willamette Grange with them. The lady who's kind of spearheading that kind of sounds like she might just be running her own. But I also thought she'd been talking to Chris. It's not entirely clear if he's participating. But they will also have a window workshop out there as well, if somebody can't make either of the Saturday dates.
So he'll be doing windows all month.
We've got all the windows.
He does windows all year.
And buildings.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at.
Didn't we have one year where we had a contractor that came in and taught some other stuff as well?
It's possible. I
Do
haven't.
you remember that they did porches or something, or?
There was a porch tour that we did one year that there were contractors there that talked about how the pieces are created and, the spots that are usually the most neglected or the places that hide the rot until it's too late, kind of things like that.
So,
That was kind of,
you know, that would be kind of interesting to be able to learn, if you have an older house, is where's your vulnerable spots?
Mhm.
I mean, like ours is rats.
Because there's.
We got. a
Because you're
ton
right
of
next to
rats.
the canal.
Yeah, and they got into the walls and
Bamboo,
to
they
the,
love bamboo.
oh, God, I hate that. So, yeah,
I mean, those are some ideas to keep for next year as well.
yeah, because it would be kind of nice to have more,
Hands-on.
yeah, people that can come in and tell you about your old house and all the rest of that.
Yeah, Chris mentioned, let me flip to the right page, there's a lady out in Philomath that does. Oh, it's not on here, I think she does something with like laminated floors or something like that. She does treatments for floors and other materials like that, I thought I had it written down.
For exterior, like porches, you mean?
Yeah.
Landmarks did a kitchen tour one time, or at least maybe more than once, where people went in and looked at kitchens that had been done sensitively to the, style of the house.
People did mine, did it very, all the fixtures and light fixtures are all very period appropriate. It's wonderful.
So the gentleman whose house is up for sale on the corner of 11th and Berry, his name was George Castle or Castiel,
Oh, yeah.
Kastl. Passed recently, but him and his wife were really involved.
He passed?
He did, yes,
Oh.
unfortunately. Yeah, it's very sad. But they were involved in the Landmarks Commission back in the 90s. So 93, he was a commission member and his wife did a whole tour about historic Victorian gardens. So that was something that she felt very passionate about, the garden. The garden at that house was her baby. It doesn't quite look like it used to anymore. But
It's hard to maintain.
Their house is amazing.
mhm.
They have a lot of motif pieces.
Wow. Cool. Anything else?
That's all I've got right now. The windows thing is kind of my big project I'm working on.
So you have the dates for that,
Yeah, so we've narrowed it down to the 6th and the 13th,
okay?
based on what else is going
So
on.
he's doing 2 days?
Mhm.
Cool.
And then the 14th is Mother's Day.
14th is Mother's Day. He was like, I can do the 13th and the 14th as a 2-day, and I'm like, I don't think we want that.
He's got.
Somebody would be in trouble if they went to the workshop.
Yeah.
Unless it was the mother.
Yes, that's true. It would be a really great gift. Somebody. Yeah, I'm excited. So we're thinking about putting together like a quick little postcard to advertise our big events that we're gonna have in the area. And then if the Visitors Association is gonna have like a big calendar, we would probably link to that as well for more information.
So what are you gonna do with the postcard?
Mail them.
To,
Preferably the historic districts. The point is to really get the Windows Workshop out there. And then to other people.
The hangar
The hangar.
and what was the other?
We've got
You could do the
that.
Tweed ride too.
Yeah, we could have that on there.
It's fun.
Maybe, could we bring a mock-up postcard for the April meeting?
We could try. Graphic design is not my passion, so we have to figure out if the postcard company puts something together for us.
Canva is very easy to use.
They've done that one for East Albany plans, so maybe they've got some talent that can help put that together.
I'm aware of my weaknesses.
See,
If I send you the information, I could probably do it. I was a graphic artist with them for 17 years.
Oh,
Not get that.
wow.
Graphic
Fantastic.
design is your passion. So, yeah, we'll look into it, and get something put together. We're hoping to send out the postcards. I'm pretty sure we can cover that with CLG money. I think we're not gonna be strapped for people with cash ideas for us now. I think we got plenty of places to spend it,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, so that's what we're hoping to do to get the word out about it. Obviously, let everybody know. Then we'll have a sign up.
Better than last year. Got it?
think so. Unless
Okay.
anybody else has anything.
The next meeting date is Wednesday, April 5th. We're adjourned. Excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, Jen, not going to-
Recording on. Well, yes, thank you.
We are almost off.